I want to talk about the Piers Morgan Andrew Tate interview today because holy crap, that was a fascinating thing to witness. It was also painful to sit through it because of the way Piers Morgan was conducting himself. And I think that it opens a bigger discussion about why the left really doesn't want conversation in the first place. Now with Andrew Tate, that's not someone that I've talked about a lot. Now I wasn't even familiar with Andrew Tate until I guess a few months ago when he just came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, he was everywhere, and then he was banned completely. And then there was a lot of clips with Andrew Tate that were presenting him in this certain way. And those didn't make him look good. There's no doubt about that. But unlike most of the weirdos on Twitter, I actually do my research, and I try not to look at things out of context. I mean, hell, it happens with me all the time. It's probably going to happen with this video. They love to screenshot my thumbnails and then put them on social media and then build a narrative around what they think I'm saying or going to say without even watching the video. And then you see the comment section talk about how terrible of a person I am. It happens every time. It'll happen with this video. That's why I did the clickbait Cobra Kai video that made him walk right into my trap. But that's neither here nor there. The point being is that a lot of the social media clips that were circulating with Andrew Tate were completely out of context. And then when you actually go and look and listen to the full scale, the full scope of the interview that was taking place, it gives a completely different perspective as to what's happening. Hell, I saw Awaken with JP, someone I'm a big fan of. Even he walked into it. Even he fell for it. He was calling Andrew Tate all of these horrible things and essentially being like, he's a scumbag, he's horrible, he's terrible because this video was circulating. Didn't do his research. It's easy. We all get caught up on this, so I totally understand that. But with the Piers Morgan interview, I sat through this, I think it was like 2 hours long. And this is why the left doesn't want to have a conversation. They love to label people something without letting that person defend themselves in a open environment. Now, Piers Morgan, I hate Piers Morgan. I think he is horrible. And I don't even know how Piers Morgan has an opportunity to do interviews like this because he's so bad at it. He's terrible at these interviews. He sat there with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate came out of this interview looking like $1 million because Andrew Tate showed control, he showed restraint, he showed respect, even with Piers Morgan interrupting him over and over and over and over again. And that is not an exaggeration. He interrupted Andrew Tate more times than I can count. I was sitting there watching the interview, just becoming so frustrated with watching all of this play out. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate, being aware of the microscope that's on him, handled it incredibly. And when you see him handle that moment like that, it does give a lot more credibility to a lot of the things that you hear him say that are not clipped for social media. When you actually hear him talk about mental strength and overcoming certain things and how to approach certain things and having a certain mindset, it really does give a lot more perspective to that. It was really incredible to watch him keep that much restraint in that situation. But what ultimately has happened now post this interview is everyone, even people that were not a fan of Andrew Tate, even people that didn't like him or wouldn't even give him any type of, positive comments or anything. Even all those people are like, Andrew Tate looks great coming out of this, and Piers Morgan looks horrible. And this is why the left doesn't want to have conversations, because they label everyone an ist or an ism or a horrible person or the devil themselves. He's the devil. We can't speak to him. Well, number one, once you actually have a conversation with the person you've labeled the devil, and that person actually presents themselves in a calm, respectable manner, then all of a sudden, all of those labels that you've been labeling, they just continue to fall apart right before our very eyes. And this is why they don't want to have those conversations, because they can't actually back up the things that they are saying. Piers Morgan looked so bad in this situation, so incredibly bad. And on the opposite side, Andrew Tate, for all of the criticisms this man has faced, for all of the mob mentality that's been going on, he went into this environment and he comes out looking as good as he's ever looked. And this is exactly why they don't want to give people platforms, because it's about labeling people something without giving them a chance to defend themselves. It's interesting that people like Andrew Tate and Alex Jones and Donald Trump, it's interesting how they can't have a platform on social media, but it's okay for other people to continuously talk about them in a negative light on social media. It's interesting how that happens. It's interesting that we couldn't even have a conversation about COVID unless we were saying literally what we were supposed to say, or we would get banned. It's interesting that there was a certain thing that took place back in November of 2020. And the only thing we could say was what we were supposed to say. If we say anything differently, you get banned. But when it comes to people like Andrew Tate and Alex Jones that were mass banned from social media, they can't have a voice. But you can make as many videos as you want about them, and they don't have the ability to defend themselves. It's pretty interesting how that works out. But ultimately, Andrew Tate, there was no reason giving as to why this man was banned. And ultimately, we all know exactly why he was banned. It was because he was calling out the narrative and he was having far too much influence. And he's said this many times. He's talked about like, hey, now that have this newfound fame, I probably wouldn't say the things that I said in the way that I said them. And he did the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. And he has shown a level of understanding as to, hey, I've got to be more aware of the things I'm saying and how they're being used against me, because it's different when, 500 people see your video versus 500,000. And that makes sense. But we live in a time where people are not looking for the context. They're not looking to understand. They're not looking because they're too busy having the narrative fed to them, and they don't have a working brain with the ability to do their own research to go, okay, this person is being labeled this thing. That doesn't sound very good what they said. Let me get the full context to fully understand what's going on before I make up my opinion. Now, again, I've been guilty of this stuff too. We all have. It's really easy to see something on social media and go, holy shit, this guy said this guy's horrible. This is terrible. But then you go and you do more research. You're like, oh wait, that really wasn't as bad as I thought. That's happened to all of us. It doesn't make you lesser of a human being if you get, pulled into some clickbait nonsense. It doesn't. It just means that you learn from that. And then in the future, you can apply it to go, yeah, I know this looks bad, but hey, let me look at the whole story first so I can understand the ramifications. Because when you label someone, and again, it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, but when you label someone a racist, a sexist, a misogynistic, all these things, those words are supposed to matter. They don't anymore, but they're supposed to matter. And you, as the individual that is making the claim, you should be responsible enough to do the slightest bit of research. And if people were actually doing research on Andrew Tate, you would come to realize that the man has been completely misrepresented a lot. It doesn't mean that every single thing he has said is not, is perfectly innocent, because, yeah, there's still some things that he said that might rub people the wrong way. Guess what? That's the real world. You're not going to like everything anyone says. There's no single person on the planet that I agree with 100%. None. And there's never going to be, because I'm my own person. I have my own brain, and I can think for myself. There are people that I look at, okay, yeah, we agree on a lot of things, but I don't agree with you on that. That's called friends. That's called being human. That's called being a normal fucking individual. It's not that difficult. But just wanted to give my thoughts on that. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I appreciate it. It is a truck video, and I appreciate all of your support. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.